Your brain is wired to keep you alive, always scanning for danger, risk, or mistakes. This survival bias helped our ancestors avoid real threats, but today it often misfires. Small problems feel huge, rare dangers seem likely, and worst-case scenarios dominate your thoughts. Understanding this hidden bias reveals why the mind exaggerates risk, distorts reality, and tricks you into stress, even when you're perfectly safe. Today, we will talk about the brain's survival bias and how it tricks you. So before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. 1. What is survival bias? Survival bias is a cognitive pattern where the brain prioritizes information that seems critical for survival while ignoring what seems less relevant. This bias evolved to help humans stay safe in uncertain environments. For example, our ancestors needed to notice threats like predators, poisonous plants, or hostile strangers quickly. The brain learned to give more weight to negative or risky information because paying attention to it increased chances of survival. In modern life, this survival mechanism still exists, but it often misfires. The brain interprets non-threatening situations, like social interactions, financial decisions, or work pressures, as if they were life or death threats. This misalignment can make people overestimate risks, worry excessively, and feel anxious about minor challenges. Essentially, your brain is doing what it was designed to do: keep you alert and safe. However, in a world where physical threats are less immediate, this bias can create mental stress. Understanding survival bias helps explain why your mind sometimes exaggerates dangers, even when logically you know you are safe. 2. How the brain prioritizes threats. The brain's focus on threats is closely linked to the amygdala, the emotional center responsible for fear and alertness. The amygdala reacts faster to potential danger than the conscious mind can analyze. When a perceived threat is detected, whether it's an upcoming deadline, a social disagreement, or a financial worry, the brain triggers heightened attention and emotional response. This prioritization is not a conscious choice, it happens automatically. Because survival bias emphasizes negative possibilities, your brain can magnify minor problems and make them feel urgent. Over time, the brain becomes conditioned to expect threats, creating a constant sense of alertness. This explains why you may feel anxious even in safe environments. The survival bias is not about being irrational. It's about the brain fulfilling its evolutionary role. Recognizing this mechanism allows you to step back and differentiate between real dangers and exaggerated mental threats. 3. The negativity bias connection. Survival bias is closely linked to negativity bias, the tendency to focus on negative experiences more than positive ones. Our ancestors benefited from noticing dangers more than rewards, as missing a threat could have fatal consequences. Today, negativity bias makes the brain exaggerate failures, criticisms, or uncertainties. This contributes to stress, overthinking, and constant vigilance. When combined with survival bias, it creates a feedback loop. The brain detects potential danger, reacts strongly, and remembers it more vividly than neutral or positive events. This loop can distort perception, making safe situations seem risky. Awareness of this interplay helps you understand why your brain sometimes reacts disproportionately and why calming strategies, like mindfulness or cognitive reframing, are necessary to correct the overactive survival response. 4. Social threats and the modern brain. While physical dangers are less common today, the brain still interprets social situations as threats due to survival bias. Rejection, criticism, and exclusion can feel intensely threatening because historically, being ostracized from the group posed serious survival risks. The brain activates the same fear and alert systems in response to social threats as it does to physical ones. This explains why people can feel anxious before a meeting, a presentation, or even casual social interaction. Survival bias exaggerates the consequences of social missteps, making minor mistakes feel catastrophic. By understanding this, Individuals can see that their emotional responses are amplified by evolutionary mechanisms rather than actual danger, allowing them to navigate social interactions with more awareness and control. 5. Financial and future threats. Modern life presents new types of perceived threats, such as financial instability, career setbacks, or health concerns. Survival bias tricks the brain into treating these abstract threats as immediate dangers. The prefrontal cortex begins simulating worst-case scenarios, while the amygdala heightens alertness. This combination can lead to overplanning, chronic anxiety, and decision paralysis. Even when objectively safe, the brain interprets uncertainty as urgent, prompting mental energy to be spent on hypothetical problems. Understanding that these reactions are rooted in survival bias helps individuals separate rational planning from excessive worry. By recognizing which threats are real and which are amplified by the brain, people can focus energy on constructive actions rather than imagined crises. 6. How survival bias affects decision-making. Survival bias can distort decision-making by making risks feel larger than they actually are. The brain prioritizes avoiding loss over seeking gain, leading to overly cautious or hesitant behavior. People may avoid opportunities because the potential downside feels intolerable, even when the odds of negative outcomes are low. This bias explains why some intelligent individuals struggle to take calculated risks, fearing worst-case scenarios. While cautious thinking can be protective, survival bias often exaggerates the likelihood and impact of failure. Understanding this mechanism allows individuals to reassess risk realistically, separating instinctive fear from logical evaluation. By training the mind to recognize exaggerated threat signals, you can make bolder, more rational decisions. 7. Emotional fatigue from constant alertness. When survival bias is overactive, it keeps the brain in a heightened state of alertness, leading to emotional fatigue. The amygdala's constant activation, coupled with the prefrontal cortex overanalysis, consumes mental energy. This can manifest as irritability, anxiety, and difficulty focusing. Even everyday tasks feel more draining because the brain is stuck in survival mode. Recognizing this state as a byproduct of survival bias, rather than personal weakness, allows for self-compassion. Rest, mindfulness, and structured problem-solving help reduce the continuous alert response. By giving the brain a chance to differentiate real threats from exaggerated ones, emotional energy is restored. 8. The role of awareness in reducing survival bias. Awareness is the first step in counteracting survival bias. Simply understanding that your brain exaggerates threats and prioritizes negative possibilities allows you to respond differently. Mindfulness practices, journaling, and cognitive reframing help identify when the brain is projecting danger unnecessarily. By labeling thoughts as brain exaggeration rather than reality, you gain distance from anxiety-driven thinking. Awareness allows you to notice patterns without automatically reacting, breaking the loop of overactivation. Over time, this reduces stress, increases clarity, and allows more balanced decision-making. 9. Practical strategies to counteract survival bias. There are practical ways to reduce the negative effects of survival bias. First, distinguish real threats from hypothetical ones by assessing likelihood and impact. Second, practice grounding techniques, such as deep breathing or focusing on the present moment, to calm the amygdala. Third, limit overthinking by scheduling dedicated problem-solving time instead of ruminating constantly. Fourth, use positive reinforcement to balance negativity bias, acknowledging successes and safe outcomes. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up, leave a comment, and click the button to subscribe.